Scotty Miller, the the MLB Network radio analyst for SiriusXM, New York Times MLB contributor. You were all over it, Scotty. What did you love about this series between the Yankees and the Dodgers?
Well, it was just good, crisp baseball. I mean, you had, Friday night.
Yeah.
The Dodgers scored 6 runs in the first inning. They came right out of the gate swinging. They just jumped on Luis Severino, who has missed most of this year. He's a key starter for the Yankees, but he's been injured, and he was only making like his third start. And the Dodgers just crushed him. And, they did what they do. They lead the National League in home runs. They're a power-laden offense. But the next 2 days, Garrett Cole stood up and showed why he's one of the most dominant pitchers in the game by pitching Saturday the Yankees to a win. You had pitching, you had stars like Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton hitting home runs. You had stars like Garrett Cole pitching well. You had young pitchers. Bobby Miller of the Dodgers, that's going to be their next great pitcher. It was outstanding last night. The Yankees had to come back late and win. But, Bobby Miller through 6 innings was just, lights out. Fastball, 99 miles an hour, slider up there, curveball down to 89, working blowing balls by people. And, it was classic Dodgers-Yankees. It was a throwback series. They've met 11 times in the World Series, not since 1981, however. But it kind of gave you a glimpse that, maybe in the near future there could be another Yankees-Dodgers World Series.
But, Scotty, I feel like this was such a success this weekend. Had it even been more of a standalone weekend where there weren't so many other sports going on, especially championships or sports in their championship series, that this could have been an even bigger game, bigger matchup. We always know about the Red Sox and Yankees when they go up against each other, the epic series that always is. But we don't get a chance to see Dodgers-Yankees. And this seemed like Major League Baseball has to figure something out, Scotty, where we can get this matchup at least once a year because it was so fun to watch. And 53,000 Dodger fans or fans in attendance for what was a regular season matchup, but it felt like a playoff type atmosphere.
Well, yeah, it did. And 2 things. One, they haven't played since, I think, 2017 or 18 was the last time. But the schedule has changed. And this year, there's a new schedule where division teams are not going to play teams within their division quite so much, and they will play everybody else at least once. So you will see Dodgers-Yankees next year in Yankee Stadium. They don't have home-and-home series because they're American and National League, but there will be one series alternating years. This year, Dodger Stadium, next year, Yankee Stadium, year after that, back in L.A., because, as I say, they've changed the schedule this year in baseball going forward, and they've gone away from the unbalanced schedule, which the past few years, if teams played division rivals 19 times a year, that's down now to 13 or 14, so they can squeeze in series against every other team in the game. So that part of it will change, and we can look forward to Dodgers-Yankees next year in the Bronx.
Yeah, there we go. SiriusXM Major League Baseball Network radio analyst Scott Miller joining the program here. Kirk Morrison filling in for Rich. I would also say, too, is that Mookie Betts was letting everybody know he's still one of the best players in the league. You mentioned Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge as well. I thought the stars stood out to a point where, okay, this is Major League Baseball. This is what the 2 iconic franchises have. But I thought Mookie Betts stood tall, a couple of home runs. But Giancarlo Stanton returning to Los Angeles, he had also a big weekend.
Yeah, he did. And you're right, the stars. I mentioned the stars, like Stanton, Judge, and Cole. But you're right. I mean, Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman on the other side. This is a place, it's loaded with stars. And, yeah, Mookie Betts, Friday night, his game was unbelievable. I mean, leadoff home run, hit another home run later, had 4 hits. Mookie Betts really stood. And then, by the way, Saturday he started at second base instead of right field. So, Mookie Betts is, it was a high octane series. There's no doubt about it, with all kinds of stars, and it was very, very cool. Mookie Betts' game on Friday night was sensational.
Scott, I know you probably may not have a lot of information on this, but I'm a San Diego State grad, and when I hear nerve damage, man, to my guy, and I'm talking about Stephen Strasburg, and now people are saying possibly can threaten his career. To this point of what now happens to a pitcher who has had multiple surgeries and now possible the nerve ending, could this possibly end his career, or is it even too much of a risk of putting back out there?
Yeah, I have significant question as to whether he'll ever pitch again.
Wow.
He had his highlight obviously was 2019, and he was the MVP of the World Series. He stood up that month of October as the Nationals needed him to. And I think, there are certainly more disappointing careers. I mean, you stand up and be a man like Strasburg was in the month of October, leading the Nationals to their first World Series title, the District of Columbia's first World Series title since the 1920s.
Right.
He'll always have that. But that said, aside from 2019, he's been fragile. He's had so many injuries, and now with this, it does not sound good out of D.C. I mean, everything Davey Martinez, their manager, and others with the Nationals are saying. I think I'll be surprised if we ever see Stephen Strasburg again, and it's too bad because, boy, especially when he came on as that number 1 draft pick from San Diego State.
Yeah.
Back in 2010 or 11 or 12 or whatever year it was. He was so exciting, and I still remember that first start of his against the Pittsburgh Pirates where, he struck out, 12 or 13, and it was like the big coming out. And it's another reminder that, we have to back to the stars we were just talking about, Yankees, Dodgers. With Strasburg, I mean, that's a reminder. We have to enjoy our stars because I think it's easy to take them for granted. You see a guy like LeBron James playing forever and dominating forever, but those are the outliers. Not the more human stories are, the stars' careers are short-lived.
Yeah.
Some go longer than others, but either way, you don't take any of it for granted, and the guys you enjoy who are to that level, you make sure to enjoy them while we have them.
Yeah, absolutely. Scotty Miller joined us here at SiriusXM Major League Baseball network and radio analyst. Aaron Judge is probably maybe a trip to the IL. He has a toe injury that he had making an outstanding catch in the series against the Dodgers. He may be out, but the one thing that stood out to me, Scott, is that I looked when you watch games, they have the team's records up there on, right underneath the team name. And you say, oh, Yankees 35 and 20, and they're like third, fourth in the AL East. And I look at the Dodgers who have a same record, and yet they're first in their division. And I'm saying, how good is this AL East where everybody, it's one of those, like we talk about the in the NFC East last year or the NFC West a couple years ago in football, where there's so many good teams within your own division that somebody is going to be on the outside looking in. How good is this AL East right now shaping up?
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I'll tell you what, I saw the Toronto Blue Jays. I was with them early April. And, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. is slugging the ball, and Matt Chapman's slugging the ball, and they've got a lot. They're a very good team, Bo Bichette. And, they've got some pitching, and I thought, man, this might be Toronto's year. That was early April. They're just another team in the American League East. I mean, it's incredible. 2 of the 5 teams are winning more than 60% of their games. Of course, the Tampa Bay Rays have the best record in the major leagues, and you can see why. They've got what seems to be an endless supply of pitching. Shane McClanahan, Tyler Glasnow just came back. They have more. They lead the majors in homers. They lead the majors in stolen bases. So, in other words, they hit for power. Their offense is prolific. They can run. They can pitch. Baltimore Orioles are also over 600.
Yeah.
And then you go to the so-called other guys in the division. The American League East is the only one of the 6 divisions in which all 5 teams are over 500. Even the last place team, the Boston Red Sox, are a game over 500. So, yeah, it's going to be a sprint all the way through the summer for these. I mean, you would think if you're Tampa Bay and having gotten off to the start they got off to and winning at the clip they're winning at, you would think that they might be able to have a little bit of cruise control at some point this summer, but it doesn't look like it. I mean, it's, you know, and you're right. I mean, I think we could see all 3 wild card teams come out of the American League East. I mean, you know, probably not, because Texas and Houston and the West are battling pretty good and posting good records. But I mean, realistically, you could have all 3. You know, you could have the division winner plus 3 wild cards. You could have 4 of the 5 teams make the playoffs in the AL East. It's probably not. Probably 3 of the 5 will make it, but it could even be 4, which would be just, you know, that's how good it is.
Scott, I'll leave you with one last question. This is more of just for me as a National League West fan, growing up as always. But what's more surprising to you, that the Diamondbacks are in first place or that the Padres are in fourth place?
That's a really good question, because both are really surprising, and obviously they relate to each other. I'd say the Padres. You have to go with the Padres because I always say you got to follow the money, like the old Watergate days.
Right.
And I mean, for the Padres to have the 3rd highest payroll in baseball, only the 2 New York teams are outspending the Padres this year. So from that perspective, the talent they've amassed, you would expect the Padres, you know, money doesn't always win.
Yep.
The money they're spending, you would think they'd at least be in second place, maybe third. But to be down in fourth is just – that right now is one of the stories of the game, the Padres underachieving. One of the biggest stories of the summer, the Padres underachieving. That said, Arizona in first is pretty good too, because the Dodgers have had a good year. It's not like the Dodgers are stepping way back. They won 111 games last year, and they're not too far off of that pace this year. But, you know, the Diamondbacks are doing so much right. I mean, Zach Gallen is the real deal on the mound. You know, beyond him, you know, the rookie Corbin Carroll and other rookies, but especially him running the bases and doing what he's doing. That's a young, exciting team in Arizona, and we're deep enough in the season that I don't know if they're going to keep it up. I'm not going to sit here today and say they're going to win the division, but they're going to be they've shown over long enough time that they're not just going to go away.
I'll tell you this, it's great to have money, but money can't buy you championships. That's what I'm seeing in San Diego right now. Hey, Scott, appreciate the time, my man.
All right, you too, Kirk. Take care.
All right, that's Scott Miller, SiriusXM MLB Network radio analyst, also a New York Times MLB contributor.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.